How do you make your professional portrait look marvelous, even if you're gray and overweight? When you look like this and your professional portrait looks like this, it's time for a new one. Even if you're a little grayer and heavier than you'd like to be, because you know, the trend is not going to change on that anytime soon, so you might as well just suck it up and do it. So how do you get to a great professional portrait? How do you get to a portrait that shows you as someone other folks would want to get to know and engage with? That's the problem we're going to solve in today's video. And I'm super excited because I called on my old friend and colleague, Bob Krasner. He's our go-to photographer here at Camares, and he's shot presidents and philanthropists and actors and musicians, and he's been published in Vanity Fair and Rolling Stone and Town and Country. So, you know, it doesn't get much better than that. Bob and I met in New York, where he lives and works, because the first step to a great portrait is getting out of the studio and going to a location that will give your portrait some more interest and tell more of a story about you.
To get a great portrait, you really you want to show something in the person that says kind of who they are,
Right.
and you want to, you know, you've got to make sure that you've got the basics. You've got to have good lighting. You've got to have nice composition. You don't want to have anything in the picture that doesn't belong there, and you don't want to have anything that distracts from the person. You want to make sure that the background either frames the person or it has a nice pleasing texture, but is not so much in focus that it's distracting from, you know, the person's face.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that picture you took of Denise, who works at Camares. She's the director of operations, and you were in Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that in Central Park, you know, you'd have some rolling vistas, but you took this incredible picture. You got her in a tunnel with the light behind her, and the lighting on her face was extraordinary, but that wonderful circle, it was almost a halo around the back of her head, and the shadows, was very interesting and beautiful. The portrait came out just fabulous. It wasn't what I would have expected when you said meet her in Central Park, you know.
I'm going to agree with you. The picture did come out fabulous.
It did come out
It
fabulous.
did, and yeah, and that kind of backlighting in a picture can totally backfire on you if it's not handled correctly. You want to make sure that the person is placed in such a way that it enhances the picture and doesn't distract.
I think it's amazing how you get people to calm down in front of the camera.
You know, it's a matter of getting people to trust you, because they have to feel like you know what you're doing, first of all. And I mean, the basic advice I would give to anybody who's having their portrait done anyway, no matter who the photographer is they need to trust the photographer. Because if they don't trust the photographer, no matter how good the photographer is, the pictures are going to be terrible, because the person is going to be, you know, twisted or contorted, or just, you know, they're not going to let down that wall between them and the camera that you need to kind of break down to get a nice picture of somebody.
Okay, well, we're off to do a photo shoot of me, so and we have our wonderful assistant Sage behind the camera who's going to shoot some of it, and I'm really excited and kind of nervous, but Bob's going to calm me down. We're going up to the High Line, and we'll show you how that all works out.
The High Line is an abandoned elevated railway that's been transformed into New York's most popular park. High above the street, it offers unique vistas, great light, textures, and backdrops. Add a great photographer, and baby, you're a star.
A quick word about glasses and transitions lenses. If you wear them and you're going to shoot your portrait outside, they're going to turn into sunglasses. So I went to my optometrist I got the same frames. They're not filled yet. They will be filled with my prescription, but for the portrait, they're much clearer, obviously, so you can see the difference. Okay, on to the portrait.
You know, today with the internet, there's so many uses for photography, and it's important to know how your images will be used. One of my uses will be for the banner art of my YouTube channel, and that means I need some space over my right-hand shoulder to accommodate text and design. So be sure to think through how you will use your image and your portrait, and discuss that with your photographer before you set out on your shoot. Oh my gosh, Bob asks me to put my foot up this way, twist that way, lean towards the camera. And here's where it's really, really important to trust your photographer. Because even though those kinds of poses may feel weird, they look great in the camera. The one thing about Bob is that he is relaxed. Here we are in a super crowded park, and it's not a problem. Bob and I have worked some really, really high pressure and dangerous corporate shoots, and he's always Mr. Calm and focused, and that's so important when you have seconds to get the shot. And it's really critical for professional portraiture. When your photographer is relaxed, so are you. Even our assistant, Sage, had a moment in front of the camera. Let's watch how Bob gets comfortable, relaxed, and gets that shot.
And chin down a little, just relax your mouth. That's it, right like that. So just like that. Chin down a little. Turn that a little to the left.
Now that's one happy customer. Here's why. And here are the results of my day in the park. Authoritative, friendly, a captain of industry. My gray hair, an asset. My extra weight, a non-issue. I love it. I'll take it.
So, in a nutshell, trust your photographer. Consider the clothes that you're wearing, right? Something light, or I'm sorry, dark. You said
Yeah, medium to dark tones.
Medium to dark tones. Consider the location, so it tells a story, and trust your photographer. So, if you're in New York, call Bob.
Please.
He's linked below. He's linked below. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe and follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and you can follow Bob on Instagram. He's got 2 wonderful Instagram channels, and we'll link them below too. And, until next time, have a great business day.